Hello and welcome to the Common Archetypes, where we discover our power by discovering ourselves. My name is Paola. Make sure you set out the vibe, and if you're a returning viewer, hello. If you're new here, hi, how are you doing? Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. So today we are going to talk about the love options and romantic prospect for individuals who have the Sage archetype. So far, when I've done this love options, I have separated it into the feminine pole of an archetype and the masculine pole of an archetype. The Sage archetype is unique. It is an archetype of the mind. This is the knowledgeable person. This is the intellectual, the logical one, the expert. They seek out knowledge and they empower themselves with knowledge. They're in the know-how and they are amazing networkers. So this archetype does not have a masculine and a feminine pole because the mind space is for both sex and there is no difference in how a man or woman thinks. There's a difference in how we are socialized, but there is not a difference in how we think. So having said that, I am, for the sake of clarity and continuity, I will break this archetype down into Sage who present outwardly as women and Sage who present outwardly as men. And as usual, ladies first. We are going to talk about the Sage woman. And again, Sage woman is just someone who has Sage archetype, but they present as a woman. What are your love options if you are the logical, intellectual expert who wants to seek love? First off, it is very difficult for intellectual women to seek love because of how, again, society is made. Men at the top, women at the bottom, women are submissive, you know about this. However, this archetype is very much not that. This is intellectual, this is logical, this is knowledgeable and knowledge acquisition. This is the tactician. What happens when you are a tactician who presents as a woman and the world does not think you are worthy because you have ovaries? It's very stupid. Your first love option in this topsy-turvy world is the king. The king archetype is the leader, the CEO, the man in charge, and probably the man who made a whole mess here. It was definitely men who are king archetype who identified this hierarchical structure where they are at the top and everyone else is at the bottom on various degrees. Okay, I live in the US. If you are intellectual, you know exactly what I mean. I'm not going to go into details. And this relationship is a relationship of that couple that works in tandem towards one goal. People in this relationship will present as the man who is the front face. You know, he's the leader. He's dictating this here and there. However, when he gets home, he plans stuff out with his wife. The wife is a tactician. She's really the brain of the operation. But the husband is the front face person. He will charm people with his brilliance, with his knowledge, which is really his wife's. Okay? He will charm people with his brilliance and his knowledge and his ability to not only come up with this goal, but achieve it. And the wife is the tactician in the back. I've always said this in the archetypal analysis, the Sage is second in command to people who have king and queen archetypes. The tacticians, the experts, they tell them what to do. Although they do know what to do, they don't tend to be in the know-how because the Sage is a networker and will acquire knowledge from here, and bring it together and make it make sense. That is their job. That is how they act. That is how they work. And in this relationship, you'll be the tactician and your husband will be the front person. He's definitely going to see your value. Listen, he might actually stay in the relationship because of your value and not love. But if it works for you, it works for you. All right? Yeah. So that is how that relationship breaks down. Another one of your love options is the Sage. Why did I not start with this? In the Sage episode, why would I have the Sage as the second love option? I'm sorry, my brain is out. Okay. Another one of your love option is the Sage. I guess the Sage man. Intellectual, logical, knowledge driven, and acquiring knowledge. Y'all are just that nerdy couple that nerds out together. It is what it is, okay? You're going to bring this information to him. He's going to bring this information to you. You're going to put it together, and you are literally that team of research as a couple. And I think a good example of this is Lessons in Chemistry. Okay? Might want to go watch that. That is a very good example of a sage woman and a sage man in union. You are just that geeky, that nerdy couple who comes up with concepts and theories over and over and over again. Again, very much researchers, very much knowledge acquisition, very much gathering knowledge, putting it together and seeing what works, what doesn't work. And, you know, it's a wonderful union for you, all right? It is a wonderful union for you. This is your counterpart. This is your equal. And you two work very well together. The sage man is going to appreciate you because you're going to push his intellect to the forefront. The sage woman is going to appreciate the sage man because he's also pushing her intellect to the forefront. These are sapiosexuals. It's like when a woman is like, I want to find my intellectual equal, she's talking about this. It's like these are the sapiosexuals, and you work really well together. Really well together. All right. And your other option is the charmer. The charmer is the youthful, boyish, adventurous, and curious boy. And this relationship works very well because you are knowledge-based. That knowledge you have and that curiosity he has goes together really well. So you foster his curious side. And because he is curious and like a kid, he's like doe-eyed and open, it pushes you to do even more research where you acquire more knowledge. And it's just like, it's a loophole. It's like a negative feedback loop where y'all just work, even though from the outside looking in, he looks like a goofball and you're so smart. And they're like, what the heck is happening? It's that negative feedback loop of him being really curious and you being knowledgeable and you empowering him with that knowledge. And because of his curiosity, y'all dig deeper. And it's different from you and the sage man where you both contribute equally. Not to say he doesn't contribute equally, but it might be a tad bit lesser than you. But his curious nature pushes you to even dive deeper into what you know, what your theories and your ideas. And like a kid, he's very affectionate and he will be your biggest cheerleader. Another thing I said about charmer men, they show up as a my wife guy. All right, so those men who really cheer the women on, but if you know anything about the my wife guy, he has a wandering eye. Like a kid who has a toy and then sees a brand new shiny toy, his attention is a little, he's a wanderer, okay? I did say he's adventurous, he's a wanderer. But again, with charmer men, it's just a way to identify a mature one from an immature one is the mature ones are intentional. They tell you exactly how it is. Where the immature one, they give you these vague concepts and ideas. Don't do vagueness if you're with this guy. And another layer to the sage and charmer union is charmer men actually give birth to sage women. This is the sage archetype in a girl or someone who presents as a girl. Now, how does this happen? It is because of the charmer archetype. He is the curious, adventurous, and boyish man. And when that archetype presents itself in a man, it pushes the guy to, like I said, be a bit of a wanderer, okay? Charmer men tend to be in a lot of situationships and not real relationships because of that adventurous side of him. He wants to try everything. The cake, the muffin, the pie. Like, they are everywhere, all right? They're very much adventurers and wanderers, and they have a childlike look to the world because they're also dreamers. When someone like that has a child, and especially a woman, this is the father who has been in a plethora of situationships, did not take him seriously, and now once he has a girl, nobody touches my baby girl. My baby girl is special. And in doing that, he would talk to his baby girl about how men ain't ish. Men just want to be intimate with you. Empower her with that knowledge that fosters the sage archetype. So that is where these two archetypes meet. There is also an added layer of familial bonds. And this can also be why sage in a feminine presenting body might let their guard down when they're around a man who has charm or energy. Because not only is he a good love option for you, but if you have a dad who had charm or energy, he can remind you of your dad. But if you know anything about this archetype, this is also the archetype of con men. So do be careful. Okay? And as a sage, beware of men who try to big bro you. That is charmer and sage one-on-one interaction right there. If you have a man who has been highfalutin, during his younger years, and now he has a daughter and he's focused on his daughter, and he will empower his daughter with knowledge that she needs to know to navigate the world, you need to be very cautious of charmer men, because they are literally your kryptonite. I'm sorry, girl. I am sorry. They are too much like your father, and it is an archetype of con men. It is an archetype in its immaturity can cause a lot of damage. Granted, every archetype in its immaturity causes damage, but the damage people who have charmer archetype cause is on another level. So do be cautious and beware of men who try to big bro you and try to empower you with knowledge, because you are like a magnet for knowledge. Not only are you knowledgeable and you are the expert, but you also want to get more knowledge. That is sage archetype. So some men will try to big bro you and try to give you knowledge when it's just game. It's just game, sis. It's just a game. It's not knowledge. He's on some BS time, and he's not here to really empower you with the knowledge you're seeking. So do be aware of that. But in a relationship between you and a charmer, you will see that you might be the one who leads a little bit more, because he is a youthful, boyish archetype. And sometimes they just go with the flow. They don't mind women leading. They don't care, okay? They really do not care, because they're just busybodies. They're everywhere, okay? They do not care you leading, taking on the reins, and you being the tactician. They will love that. They will big you up. They'll be like, my wife is so smart. My wife this. Beware when they try to big bro you. That's all I have to say. So now going to the sage archetype. This is still the same archetype, but in a masculine presenting person. Obviously, one of your love options is the sage. Same energy as you. Knowledgeable, logical, inquisitory. I think I forgot to say that when I was talking about the women. Inquisitory. You love knowledge. You seek knowledge. You empower yourself with knowledge. Knowledge. Right? And a good archetypal match for you is also the sage, but just in a woman. So basically you. And the two of you are like researchers. Think of a team of scientists, but just two people, where you go on the left, you acquire this knowledge, you bring it home. She goes on the right, acquires this knowledge, bring it home. You put it together. You test out your theory. You test out your ideas. You test out whatever you need to test out. And you come up to your result. Or maybe you find out your hypothesis was right or not. Whatever. This is how this relationship grows. You're basically like an amplification factor for your archetype. And what I mean by that, you feed each other well, because the sage loves knowledge and loves being in a know-how and loves to know how things work. And not only that, they like to figure out the nitty-gritty. And the best archetype for that is literally just you and a woman. That's it. That's all it is. You would give her knowledge about how the world may look, or how it might be difficult for you through the male lens, and she would tell you about how it looks from the woman's lens. You all come together, you put something together, and you're a great couple. You're basically a power couple, all right? You all are wonderful together. And another one of your match is the protective mother. The protective mother, she is the protector of families, protector of girls, protector of women. Sometimes she also protects emotions. And this is an archetypal match for you because she is very honest and direct. You don't have to figure out the nitty-gritty with her. She tells you how it is. This is what it is. We're going to do it this way. Let's go. And the sage in their knowledge acquisition phase, I'm just going to say knowledge acquisition, can kind of get bogged down when they have to solve this and this and this, and it gets really complicated. The protective mother would just, nope, we're doing this, we're doing that. And she very much so grounds you down. The sage likes to be in their heads because they're very knowledge based. They not only like knowledge, but they like acquiring knowledge. And the protective mother energy will help ground you down and bring you back down to earth. So instead of getting stuck in your headspace where you overthink stuff, she will help ground you down. And this is very much a union of opposites attract. Her groundedness will help you get out of your mind space when you need that detachment from your mind, because as good as knowledge is, there's such a thing as information overload. And sometimes we just need to go back to the foundation and go back to the basics. A partner who has protective mother archetype is going to help you go back to the foundation, go back to the basics. This is what it is. This is what we do. Let's go. So when you do need to detach from your headspace, that would be amazing. And when you need to be in your headspace, I guess just tell your partner, just like, hey, give me a second. But she's very receptive to that. This is a relationship full of direct communication, and everybody knows exactly what they want in this relationship. So you two work very well. Okay, so that is it for this episode. Please let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Please let me know if you resonate with this archetype or not. And I'll see you next week. Bye.